Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It's time to place your bets. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and it's week 5 in the NFL. It's time to look ahead at some of the games that we have going forward. I think there's a lot of early value. I am excited for it. And to help me break it all down, of course, Sam Hoppen and Pat Fitzmaurice, the boys from Betting Pros and Fantasy Pros. We're going to take you through some of the early lines and the values and see what might be worth wagering on early on. Definitely last week there were some fun things. Sam Hoppen, I hope you had a good week. Certainly a better week than maybe the Chicago Bears have. Maybe we could start there, right?
I mean, the bar is pretty low for having a better week than the Chicago Bears. I mean, my wife asked me after the game, she's like, are you surprised that the Bears lost? And I'm like, well, I'm not based on what I thought before the game, but I am based on how the game was going 3 quarters in. So, yeah, not looking too great in Chicago.
No, I'll tell you what, though. Speaking of how that game was going, Pat Fitzmaurice, this was my favorite moment of Sunday. A little in-game live betting I was doing there. I'm watching some of these games because some of these games were a little tight there, and I was like, well, I'm going to look for an opportunity. I'm looking for a team that falls behind, and the Denver Broncos fell behind. And all of a sudden, their money line became plus 520 on FanDuel, and Joey P bet it. And then Joey P got real nervous because I thought that the Bears were going to kick a field goal. They chose not to, even after the timeout. Pat, my favorite bet of the Sunday. Things feel good. Did you cut your sleeves off on Sunday at any given time, too, like Sean Payton, just out of curiosity?
I did not, Joe. But, yeah, I was a little surprised by that moment in the Bears-Broncos game, too, where the Bears lined up to go for it. Everyone thought they were going to kick the field goal, get the Broncos to try to jump off sides. Didn't work. Come out of the timeout and still decide to go for it and come up woefully short, leading to yet another loss. So, yeah, we'll talk about the Bears more in a minute here. But
oh, yeah.
They don't inspire confidence, at least not here among my, my neighbors, my Bears fans.
Yeah. It depends on your term of confidence. Like, I'm confident. I was very confident that even when they were up, they were going to lose. So I guess it's a different kind of confidence at the end of the day. And that's what's so beautiful about the wagering market. There's early value. There's value during the week. There's value while the games are going on. So it never stops. So if you want to get in on it, make sure you download the Betting Pros app, sync all your sports books. Oh, and don't forget, we're also giving away free stuff here. We're giving away an Odell Beckham signed Baltimore Ravens jersey, thanks to us here at Betting Pros. So all you have to do is subscribe to our Betting Pros YouTube channel, and of course drop a comment below. Let us know what your favorite early picks are. We love hearing from you in the YouTube comments, and click the little bell till it goes ding for notifications so you know when all the content drops here and when you're notified if you are the big winner of the OBJ jersey. Let's start here with, of course, Thursday Night Football, and guess what? It's the Chicago Bears, 0-4, heading to Washington. Washington's 2-2. The 45.5 is the number you're getting here on BetMGM. 44.5 at Sugar House. 6 is the number across the board if you like Chicago for the upset at plus 220. There you have it over on FanDuel. But Pat, short week for a team that has trouble preparing no matter how much time you give them. Washington looked very solid, really competitive against the Eagles last week. So are we liking this 6 for the Washington early on?
A little bit, yes, Joe. I mean, it would just be so reckless to bet the Bears at this point, and the short week might be the only thing preventing Matt Eberflus and his staff from being summarily dismissed this week. Like, things have gone so sideways for the Bears. One of the interesting things to come out of Bears headquarters this past week was from the Chase Claypool saga. And we know he was deactivated on Sunday. No surprise there. He has not endeared himself to the organization this year with his effort. But Bears head coach Matt Eberflus told the media it was Claypool's choice not to come to the stadium after he was informed he was going to be deactivated. A team spokesman later clarified that it was not, in fact, Claypool's choice. He was told not to come. So obviously morale is not going to be high for an 0-4 team to begin with. And it doesn't help that Eberflus is making odd choices like that decision to go for it on 4th and 1 yesterday, an easy field goal range, or the decision to throw one of his own players underneath the bus by saying that he chose not to come to the stadium when he was told not to. So I have to wonder
in all fairness, if you're Eberflus, Pat, you're thinking when he was there, he wasn't present. So what's the difference, right?
It's true, but if
that was very zen, wasn't it?
If you're one of the players about it, Joe, I mean, I got to think they've got some major
if I'm his
morale
teammate,
issues.
I'm pissed at the guy. I'm like, screw this guy. Sam, Pat mentioned reckless. When I think reckless, I think Sam Hoppen. Sam, what do you think about this one? Any early value on this short week here where, you take a little bit out of some confidence boost from the Commanders and their performance in Philly?
I don't think so. I was very encouraged by how Washington performed against Philadelphia. I think that was more so a game in which Washington played up to their competition than Philadelphia playing down to the competition. We saw the good Sam Howell on Sunday. Now he gets to face a Bears defense that ranks 31st in pass EPA per play, 27th in success rate, and 25th in explosive pass rate. So I don't know if I like any side here because, again, backing Sam Howell still is a little nerve-wracking to me, but I'd certainly be looking at Washington's team total. I mean, the Bears defense is terrible, and they're just letting anyone score points on them.
Yeah, it's a good point. That's a good point of view on this game. Jacksonville stays in London for another week there. Again, they're home away from home. The Buffalo Bills are going to travel out there. 48.5 is the number you can get on the under. 47.5 on Sugar House, 48.5 on PointsBet right now. You're seeing the spread vary somewhere between 4.5 on the Buffalo side here on DK and plus 5.5 over on Caesars if you like the Jacksonville side, plus 195 on Bet365. Again, I'm seeing all these lines at bettingpros.com, or you just download the app. This is how you can see the best lines. Is there a letdown potentially, Sam, in this one with Buffalo having a big important game against Miami, coming off 2 wins in a row, and then getting on a plane and going to London?
I don't think so. I think the Bills are an absolute wagon right now. There's no team that I was more impressed with on Sunday than the Buffalo Bills. I was on the Dolphins money line in our chat earlier before the game, and that did not pan out well, but they've put up 35 plus points in 3 straight games. They are humming on all cylinders. They lost Tre'Davious White, which sucks, but it sounds like Von Miller is expected to start practicing with the Bills again on Monday. I don't think if Jacksonville gets out to a lead that they'll be able to hold that lead. They're 28th in pressure rate on defense. They are struggling to run the ball a ton outside of Trevor Lawrence scrambles. And so I think this is just a tremendous spot for the Bills, again, heading to Jacksonville's home away from home.
Pat, any value here in your opinion, or any advantage with Jacksonville already being out there and already kind of adjusted to life out there in terms of time difference and all the other stuff, or is that just overrated?
I actually think so, Joe. I think this is a good spot for the Jaguars. I mean, you've got the Bills coming off this emotional win against their chief rival in the AFC East. And now the Bills have to travel to London after this big game. The Jaguars have already been there. They had the week 4 game in London, so they get to just kick back and enjoy bangers and mash all week while they're waiting for the Bills to show up in London. They've got the whole play overseas thing down to a science by now, too, since they are the regulars in London. So what do we do here? I mean, we know the Bills are the superior team, but there is reason to believe they might not throw their best punch coming off this big win and traveling overseas. I don't think this line is going to go down. I think a lot of people are going to be confident in the Bills after what we saw against the Dolphins. So I think this line is going up. I want to wait. I want to try to get a little bit more value here and then bet the Jaguars.
Okay, that makes sense to me. So let's wait on this one. Maybe no early value. What about Tennessee, Indianapolis? Again, right now we are plus 1.5 on the Tennessee side of this game. You get plus 1 though on Indianapolis at DK. So we're basically, between FanDuel and DK there, you're at a pick 'em at this point. Indianapolis did come back. They were very competitive in the second half of that game after kind of a sluggish start against the Rams. And Tennessee put a hurting on the Cincinnati Bengals. They got to the quarterback. That's something, again, they're going to have a little bit more mobile quarterback this week to face. Anthony Richardson's going to get out of the pocket a little bit better than Joe Burrow. 41.5 is the number for this one on the total over at BetMGM, 42.5 at PointsBet. Fitz, this is one of those classic kind of pick 'em games. We did get the Tennessee Titans, that we were hoping for and looking for, right, a couple weeks ago, but we thought, oh yeah, this is when the Tennessee Titans bring you down to their level, play in the mud, hit you hard, play smash mouth football. We were just a week too late. Does it continue this week?
Yeah, I don't like betting against Mike Vrabel teams because of this reason. I think they can outperform their talent. Should we like the over here? I mean, we are looking at two of the worst pass defenses. Yeah, I mean, I know neither of these passing offenses are real inspiring, but these are two really bad pass defenses, and we might see Jonathan Taylor possibly return to the Colts this week. We don't know if that's going to happen yet, but boy, what an interesting matchup that is going to be if Taylor comes back and you've got Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor going up against maybe the best run defense in the NFL. I'd really like to see that. I think there might be a little bit of value in the over. I mean, the Titans shut down Joe Burrow and the Bengals. I know, like, this is not the same Bengals offense, so let's not read too much into that. This is a low total. And two pretty bad pass defenses. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Colts and Titans were able to do some business through the air in this one and get this over the total.
Sam, bad pass defense is also an explosive playmaker, Anthony Richardson. When he starts humming, when he's on, and you saw in the second half, like he started to get that juice back, right? All of a sudden, I feel like no total's safe when it's in a Colts game. And I like the over last week when we talked about the Rams game, right? I was very much on. I was like, hey, Richardson's back. Anything can happen. That guy is so explosive. Do you think 41.5 is enough where you like the over too?
I think so. It's intriguing because of how fast the Colts are playing. I mean, they are second in neutral script, seconds per play. First in neutral script, no huddle rate. They are just moving at lightning speeds right now. They were doing it with Gardner Minshew as well when he started the other week. Again, I mentioned that the Bills were the most impressive team on Sunday. Tennessee was the second most impressive to me. They played incredible. Again, we know that this Bengals offense is not what it was built up to be in the preseason, but you saw that vintage Derrick Henry touchdown run where he just pushed defenders to the side. You know, they had that very bad game against Cleveland a couple weeks ago, but Cleveland's defense has also been exceptional this year. So I think the Titans could potentially be obviously in this race for the AFC South, and think that they'll take home the win against Indy this Sunday.
One of the best stories in the NFL has to be the Houston Texans. They are 2-2, heading to Atlanta, coming off a loss, coming off a long plane ride back home. Right now, still Atlanta is 2.5-point favorites in this one. 42 is the number if you like the under on DK, but you can get 41 at PointsBet. Plus 125 if you like the Houston Texans for the upset. Now, look, Sam, when you beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, that's got to be like the bee in your bonnet, right? The feather in your cap, or whatever other headwear, it's a comment I want to make here. But the Houston Texans, I think, have something fun and special going on. Does it carry with them on the road to Atlanta? That's the question.
It does, for sure. The better quarterback in CJ Stroud is getting the points. It is as easy as that. He is, he's lighting it up. He may not have passed the S2 cognition test, but he's certainly passing the eye test on the film. I mean, he is playing lights out. Again, people thought he'd take a step back against this Pittsburgh defense, which has shown to have some holes in it at this point. But again, putting up that much yardage and making these defenses look silly week after week, you got to buy in at this point.
All right, Pat, how do you want to buy into this game with CJ Stroud? You want to just take him outright? Do you want to go ahead? Because if you do want to go ahead and take him on the money line again, plus 125 just to win this football game.
Yeah, I like it outright. And the Falcons were the darlings of people in the preseason to win the NFC South. And I think people should maybe be second guessing that because, once again, we're in the situation where Arthur Smith is not utilizing his best offensive talent to maximum capacity. Sam said it. I mean, there is a decisive quarterback advantage for the Texans here. And making CJ Stroud's performance so far all the more impressive, the fact that he's got none of his starting offensive linemen playing right now. Well, maybe one. 3 are on IR, and Laramie Tunsil didn't play either on Sunday. So they picked their teeth with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, they absolutely destroyed the Steelers on Sunday. That was not even a close game.
I'm going to have to do a wellness check on Bogman tonight when we do our Monday Night Football show. You got to really see if he's okay.
And I don't think the Texans are capable of being in a letdown spot right now. They're just too young for that. And DeMeco Ryans he's doing such a good job with this team. They entered week 4 third in special teams DVOA. the defense, like we thought they were going to be undermanned, but the defense is overachieved. The offense is tremendously overachieving. Yeah, I like Houston more. I think they're the better team.
While Pat was talking, that plus money went to even, by the way. So just saying, like, that's already, people are in on it. They must have been, somehow listening live. Maybe there's a listening device in this room. I don't know. But I just saw that happen over at Betting Pros. So get in while the getting's good, because the worm might be turning in this game as people sit back and start to marinate about CJ Stroud and what they've seen so far. We haven't seen a win yet from the Carolina Panthers. They are 0-4. They are 8.5-point underdogs right now on FanDuel, going to the Detroit Lions, who look really strong, who have some extra rest, who got all their running backs back and healthy last week against the Green Bay Packers. 44 is the number on FanDuel right now. You get 43.5 on the over on BetMGM. If you like Carolina for the upset, and I don't, it's plus 340 on the money line. But let's talk about this. Detroit looks really good. Pat, this is a big number, though. 8.5, pretty large. Are we that confident yet with the Detroit Lions, even against a winless Carolina Panther team, that they're going to cover that number?
No, and maybe we should be. Our friend Derek Brown was just pointing out on a Fantasy Pros podcast how good this Detroit defense has been, and this has turned into a near elite run defense, and it's been pretty good against the pass too. They're dialing up pressure. They made the Green Bay Packers offense look pretty inept for at least the first half of the week 3 game on Thursday night. So I don't know. Do we see a letdown game for the Lions after that big divisional win? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. They've had extra prep time, or will have had. I feel like we're due for a decent Bryce Young game, which we have not gotten yet. Like, the offense has looked so ragged, but I can't lay this many points with the Lions. I'm just not there yet.
Sam, I like I said, there's a couple early games I really like. This one is another one where we spoke about earlier, where I feel like if you wait, this one's going to grow bigger, and it could even start to, scratch 9.5 or even 10. That's, I think, when I would bet Carolina. Do you agree or disagree?
I do. I mean, this is a slightly lower total. It's around 43, 44 points right now. So if it gets out to 10, then I think Carolina is certainly the side to take. The thing is that the Lions should be able to get ahead early and then hold that lead against one of the league's, if not the league's, worst rushing defense. In EPA per play, Carolina just can't really stop anyone right now. Obviously had a somewhat decent game against Minnesota, but I just think that Detroit will be able to get a lead early and then continue to run the ball with David Montgomery like they did this past week.
Now, we don't have definitive news yet, but it would certainly seem that Kenny Pickett is in danger, I believe, of missing. Is that safe to say, everybody? In danger of missing week 5? Can I say that? I can? Okay, good. In danger of missing week 5. They are at home with potentially Mitchell Trubisky being there. They are 4-point home underdogs coming in here on PointsBet over on the on their side against the Baltimore Ravens, who had a big win in Cleveland. Again, no Deshaun Watson, so I don't know what we want to take out of that, but he'd get Baltimore at -2.5 right now at Bet Rivers. The number for this game, obviously, slugfest, typical AFC North, 40 on PointsBet, 41 on Sugar House. If you like the under, if you like Pittsburgh to figure it out with Mr. Trubisky, plus 160 at PointsBet, that's the number here. So it's been a very weird year so far, I would say. It was a strange September, Sam, for this division. I think overall, I think it's safe to say. We thought this was going to be the juggernaut division, and it's starting to look like, can anybody stay healthy and win this thing? It's a great opportunity for the Baltimore Ravens to handle their business against a down-and-out Pittsburgh Steelers team. Will they do that? And do you want to hop on this line now before people have more time to think about what Pittsburgh isn't doing well or doesn't have for this game?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but the line has already moved out. It looks like it's at -4.5 for the Ravens right now. And this is probably one of my biggest conviction plays of the week, taking Baltimore with the points and the points. It's the Steelers defense, again, I mentioned it earlier, does not look like it really was what we thought it would be. Baltimore just put up a great offensive performance against Cleveland, who, again, I still think is a phenomenal defense. And the Pittsburgh offense is just so underwhelming. I mean, even if You get Mitch Trubisky, which might be an upgrade over Kenny Pickett at this point, or at least it's something different.
Careful what you say on air. You never know. It comes back to haunt
the
you.
Baltimore defense has been playing exceptionally well. And again, you can look at some of their opponents that they faced, but you have the schedule that you have, and the way that they're stopping some of these opposing offenses is very impressive, especially with the missing players they've had.
Pat, your thoughts and feelings about Baltimore-Pittsburgh?
Yeah, Joe, you mentioned Kenny Pickett was in danger of missing this game. Would you say he's in grave danger of missing this game, Joe?
I would say in grave danger.
You're wearing the Top Gun T-shirt. I had to do a Tom Cruise reference there.
Look, I do podcasts or people die. That's it. That's where I stand on a wall and I do shows all day. That's what I do. You want to bet? Go download the Betting Pros app. That's what you do. Otherwise, don't tell me how to do my job. It's a little Few Good Men, everybody, just in case. Just in case you didn't. Go ahead, Pat. Continue on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen a Mike Tomlin Steelers team look this disheveled before. Like, they just don't look bad. And Tomlin someone asked him if there were going to be changes made this week, and he stated very affirmatively, yes, there would be changes this week. I don't know what that means, but I don't think this can be repaired. And one of the few things that the Steelers have had working for them, at least up until week 4, was their pass rush. They were 3rd in pressure rate going into week 4 and 1st in sacks. Couldn't get to CJ Stroud at all, despite that injury-riddled Texans offensive line. And Lamar Jackson has been getting the ball out really quickly and neutralizing pressure. Like, that has worked fabulously well with Todd Monken redoing this Ravens offense. So, yeah, I like the Ravens here. I would play this up to 5. I have no confidence in the Steelers at this point. Sorry, Scott Bogman.
Well, I mean, I think Scott would agree with you, knowing Boggs. He believe me, he might have less confidence. Speaking of little confidence, we're going to talk about the Patriots next. But before we do, just a reminder, when you're making picks, do them in the Betting Pros app. But join our NFL contest so that you can win some free stuff. Our grand prize winner is going to win a Jackson Smith and Jigba autographed jersey just for making 5 picks a week and 100 picks for the year. It's not too late to join just because it's October, because we're also doing weekly and monthly prizes too. We're giving away shop swag from Betting Pros, from Fantasy Pros. We're also giving away premium upgrades to Betting Pros and Fantasy Pros. So to join the NFL contest, just go to bettingpros.com/NFL contest, or you can also just click the community tab on the Betting Pros app and join the NFL contest that way as well. But it's a great way for you to make picks, have some fun. Even if betting's not legal in your state, you can still pick along with us and enjoy the ride. And again, free stuff. Free stuff is great. All right, Pat. I've been loathing to get to this game, but here we are. The New England Patriots are 1-3. Matthew Judon is hurt. The offense looks terrible. Somehow, I don't know how, but somehow they are still 1-point favorites at home against the New Orleans Saints. I don't know. I just, this makes my head hurt. This line is completely wrong, Pat, and I don't know what I have to do about this, but give me New Orleans all the time in this game. New Orleans at plus 105 on the money line. Yes, please. The total, obviously, where you think it is, it's 39.5, floating between that and 39. To me, it's New Orleans just going there and handing New England, because I think New England's just done.
It could be, Joe, and I can understand. I mean, look how bad Mac Jones was against a very good Dallas defense, and the Saints defense is pretty good too. But I just don't know if I can take the Saints confidently when I'm not totally convinced in their ability to put up points. Like, that passing game just didn't look good yesterday. Has sputtered at times this year. And man, going into New England as a road favorite, I can't do it. If it was a potent
going
offense,
into New England back in the day with Tom Brady.
I know, and they have no Matthew Judon. That does take some of the teeth out of the defense. No Matthew Judon. The secondary's
all hurt. Everybody named last name Jones except Mac is hurt on this football team. It's a problem.
Yeah,
right now.
I don't want to bet the Patriots in this one, Joe, but I don't really want to bet the Saints either.
Sam, I want to bet the Saints. In fact, I already have. So what do you think about this one? Tell me if I'm right or wrong.
I would implore you to just have some fun with it, Joe. I can't stay far enough away from this game. I mean, if it even gets onto Red Zone this Sunday, I'm going to use it as an opportunity to go to the bathroom. The Saints offense does not look good either. These defenses are somewhat decent. I mean, they've held their own in some situations, but I bet the over in the Patriots Cowboys game because both of those teams play pretty fast, and it still didn't get there, even though it was 28-3 at the half. I mean, the Patriots, even trying to get some Zappy Hour magic in, couldn't do anything.
They got nothing. They got no playmakers on offense. They got no pass rush without Judon. The secondary's banged up. This is a hot mess. New Orleans Saints, book it. There you go. I'll stand on my island. That's fine. Miami Dolphins at 9.5-point favorites on DK against the New York Giants. We'll see what the Giants have for us tonight. We also don't know definitively if we get Saquon Barkley back or not. Again, high ankle sprains take weeks. He has had now weeks. He's probably unlikely to play tonight. 49.5 is the number here. Plus 390 for the Giants upset. This is a tough situation here because, obviously Miami did struggle in Buffalo, but this feels like they get right back on track. The question is, Sam, is the 9 too many points?
It's too many points for me to bet it. I think it's right about where I would have it. It's going to be the Giants on a short week. They'll be traveling to Miami to play down there, and I think this is going to be just a huge bounce back spot for the Dolphins offense, who struggled quite a bit on Sunday against the Bills. So I make it about minus 9.5 for Miami, but it's still it's a lot to lay there.
Fitz, what about the total in this one, too? 49.5. I mean, I feel like Miami's so explosive, and they got held in check a little bit last week, obviously, on Sunday. But the Giants have had problems holding anybody in check, I feel like.
They have, Joe. And the only concern is that the Giants are going to do their part to get it over the total. That's my hang up on the total. I think Miami's going to do their part. And look, the Dolphins ran into a buzzsaw in Buffalo. And the thing is, Joe, do we really think this Giants defense is capable of disrupting Miami's offensive machinery the way Buffalo did on Sunday? Yeah, I don't think so either. So, and on a short week of preparation and rest, I think this is a great bounce back spot for the Dolphins. I'm happy to lay the points here.
Fitzy and I were talking about this next game here before the show. Philadelphia 4-0, 5-point favorites over on Caesars, 5.5 on DK right now against the Los Angeles Rams. They're going to travel to LA. I get all they got to travel and all this stuff, but 46.5 is the number, 47 on DraftKings, 46.5 on FanDuel. If you like LA for the upsets, plus 188. Fitz, I'm confident in the Eagles. I know a lot of people have lost some confidence in them, it feels like, because they let the Commanders kind of, as Sam was saying earlier, they played down to the Commanders a little bit. Okay, fine, but maybe that's a good gut check for them. They came out victorious. Now you got to go to LA, play a football game here, and I think that the 5 is pretty generous. I like the Eagles in the 5, Pat, but what do you think of this game?
If you had showed me this total or this line in August, Joe, and told me that there were no major injuries to the Eagles affecting this line, I would have bet a mortgage payment on the Eagles here. But they have not been the wrecking ball that we thought they were going to be. The Rams have not been the pile of rubble we thought they were going to be. This is just a line I sort of look at and throw my hands in the air. I'm not sure what to do it. I mean, I could definitely envision a scenario where the Eagles blow out the Rams. I could envision a scenario where the Rams hang with the Eagles. What I'm worried about is the scenario where the Eagles are holding a comfortable lead, keeping the Rams at arm's length and in a backdoor type of situation at the end of the game. So I'm walking away from this one.
All right. So Pat sees 4 outcomes in this one. Sam, what do you see?
I'd lean with the Eagles right now. Cooper Kupp is expected to resume practice this week, which is good, but Matthew Stafford did sustain a hip injury during the game against Indianapolis. It sounds like he will be fine, but just something to monitor throughout the week. Eagles offense hasn't looked tremendous by any means, but they're still holding their own. I think they've scored 30 plus points in multiple games so far this season. The Rams don't play a ton of man, but I think the Eagles offense should be able to work their way down the field easily enough the over in this game is already getting steamed a ton. It's up to 50 points now. So we're expecting some shootout potential here in Los Angeles.
Cooper Kupp returned too, right? That's what we're also expecting. So we'll see what kind of impact that makes on this game. So if you like the the over, you might want to bet it now before the number keeps moving. Cincinnati Bengals 1-3. Didn't think I'd be saying that against the Arizona Cardinals 1-3. Now the Cardinals at +5 are home underdogs. Sam, I already took this last night when I was putting the show plan together. 42.5 is the number on FanDuel, 42 at Sugar House, +175 for the Arizona Cardinals to win outright. So it's my lack of confidence right now in the Cincinnati Bengals. They're a much better theoretical team, but they are not a better team right now in terms of practicality. And Arizona has proven that they play hard. They're not a good football team, but they do play hard. So that's where this comes for me with the early value. But do you think I'm off base here? Do you think that Cincinnati just completely gets right here and no T. Higgins and they just go out to Arizona and just, put a big hurting on them?
I don't think so. I think you're right here. I'm not touching it just because of like that smidge percent that Cincinnati actually is Cincinnati, and they're going to be most likely without T. Higgins, which is a huge bummer. Arizona, again, has been very plucky this season. They had it within one score against San Francisco in the second half this past weekend. Then the game sort of got away from them, but it's...
Hey, how about the Giants, too?
Yep.
Like what they did to the, same thing. And the Dallas Cowboys, they beat them. Like, when do we start giving the Cardinals a little credit?
It's one of those things where, again, to Pat's point on the last game, if you had told me that this was going to be the line by this point in the season with, no major injuries to the Bengals, save T. Higgins, like, I'd be smashing the Bengals, but it's... with the way that offense looks, it just, I can't swallow that pill right now.
Okay, look, I understand. Look, I get it. It's hard to say things like the Houston Texans should be favored, and it's hard to say things like the Arizona Cardinals, you should take those points because they're going to battle. Pat, I'm ready. I'm here. I've seen enough in September. It's October. I've turned the page. It's not that I believe in the Arizona Cardinals so much as I believe in them enough. And I'm disbelieving in what I've seen out of Cincinnati, especially that offensive line. They have played terribly this year.
I'm with you, Joe. I hit the Cardinals when I first saw this line on Sunday nights. Here's the thing, Joe. I think there's a decent chance we don't see Joe Burrow play this game. Like, in which case, this line probably winds up being something close to a pick'em. I mean... Burrow is just so clearly compromised right now, and it seems like coaching malpractice to keep running him out there when he can't move in the pocket at all. And I just wonder if this is the week where Zach Taylor finally makes that concession and decides to do that. And if so, I want to be on this line before that happens. So even if Burrow does play, Joe, you said it. I mean, Jonathan Gannon, yes, he was a lightning rod for jokes and everything with his less than inspirational speech before the start of the season. But man, he's got these guys playing so hard. You have to at least admire it. They are not going to roll over for teams, it appears.
They are not. All right, the New York Jets 1-2 head to Denver 1-3 right now. Actually, New York is 1-3 now too. Pardon me. 3-point underdogs right now. The New York Jets are going into Denver. That feels right. 40 is the number. That feels right. +135 for the Jets to win. Intriguing to me. But again, it's the confidence of I know Zach Wilson did some things better, but still made enough mistakes where he gave the game away and the game got away from them. Pat, do you see any value here at this one? Now, I know Sam was running away from games. This is the one I'm running away from.
Yeah, I do see value. I want to bet the Jets on the money line. And because I still have a lot of faith in that defense. And I don't have a lot of faith in Zach Wilson, although he did play better against the Chiefs on Sunday night. However, he is running into a Denver Broncos defense that nursed the Chicago Bears offense back to good health on Sunday, at least until, the Bears got into their mistake-prone ways again in the second half. But I don't know what to believe in with Denver anymore. I just don't think there's a lot to like here with them. And I think the Jets defense is going to take it to them. So yeah, I want to bet the Jets. And we haven't seen Denver like do anything with home field advantage either this year. Like, I mean, losing to the Raiders, losing to the Commanders. Yeah, give me the Jets here.
By the way, that number for the Cardinals game is already at 3. So if you like it, you better get it at Sugar House at +5 while it's still up there, because that's not going to last much longer. Sam, again, this one scares me. Does it scare you?
No, I'm with Pat. I think this is my sort of second big conviction play here, going with the Jets. I think their defense is absolutely legit. Their raw numbers are not phenomenal, but when you consider the opponents they faced in Dallas, Kansas City, and Buffalo, and what they've done to sort of hold those offenses in check, I think it's incredibly impressive. Again, Pat mentioned it. We saw what the Broncos defense can do for one poor offense in Chicago, and I think they'll do the same thing for a Jets offense that, again, didn't look out of sorts and has, in my opinion, some better playmakers on offense as well.
All right, let's get to the next one here. We got the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Minnesota Vikings. The number for this one's 52. Minnesota's defense is not great. We know that. Just because they beat the Carolina Panthers, I'm not getting all crazy about that. Minnesota's 6-point underdogs. I love a home underdog, but I don't know if I love them this much here. Your thoughts on this one, Kansas City and Minnesota, Sam?
I'm laying the points with Kansas City. I think their offense, again, played not great against the Jets on Sunday Night Football. And the Vikings defense is not as good as the Jets defense. I think that the Kansas City Chiefs are just going to roll over them. Brian Flores blitzes a ton, and I think Patrick Mahomes will be able to take advantage of the one-on-one receivers with those blitz packages coming.
Fitz, do you see this one the same way?
I don't really see any betting value here, Joe. Maybe the over might intrigue me to some degree, but I don't like either side.
Okay, there you have it. Let's get to the last two games we have here. A big one, Sunday Night Football. Dallas Cowboys, San Francisco 49ers. They're in San Fran. San Fran is 3.5-point favorites in this game. 45.5 is the number. Dallas to win outright plus 165. All right, here we go. Dallas rebounded. Now Micah Parsons, we'll check on his health. He had rolled his ankle in that game Sunday. But Dallas defense bounced back in a big way after a disappointing game. Dak Prescott's already got it on his craw about the San Francisco 49ers. He already heard stuff after the game last night. So here we are. 49ers undefeated. Dallas 3-1. Pat, how do you see this game?
I see it as a great game that I do not want to bet, Joe. And I think the line and the total are spot on. And maybe Dallas has shown a few more blemishes than San Francisco has to this point. But let's not forget, Dallas really should have beaten the 49ers in San Francisco in the playoffs last year. Like, I thought the 49ers were lucky to escape that game with a win. So I think these two teams are still reasonably even matched. I think maybe the 49ers are a little bit better, but I don't want to lay 3.5 to the Cowboys.
Fair enough. To me, this is a fun anytime touchdown scorer one. Like, you're looking for some individual props, maybe. I mean, CMC scoring a touchdown feels like a lock every single week, Sam. But what do you think about this one? Any early value you see? Or just going to wait and see how it unfolds?
I'm with Fitz here. I'm going to wait on it. I don't think that San Francisco will get down to -3, but if it does, that's when I would certainly jump on it. I think it'll stick right around 3.5 for the majority of the week, unless we, again, hear something with potentially Micah Parsons. I think he could cause that to obviously move in favor of the 49ers, but I'm laying off it for right now and just looking forward to a great Sunday Night Football matchup.
Last one, Monday Night Football. Your Packers boys are going ahead and taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders you can get at +1.5 over on FanDuel. You get the Green Bay at +1 over on DK right now. 43.5 is the number. This one's very tight here. Sam, I don't know about this one. I'm not sure exactly why this line is where it is, because I'm far more confident in Green Bay than I am in Las Vegas. But what do you think?
I agree. And Green Bay has a lot going for them. Obviously played on Thursday night this past week and are playing on Monday night this upcoming week. So they get 11 days of rest, 11 days of preparation for Las Vegas. It could be enough time for Luke Musgrave to clear concussion protocol. Hopefully they get Eldon Jenkins back, Jair Alexander, and Devondre Campbell. So the health is definitely trending in the right direction with that extra rest. Extra rest. Las Vegas is just 18th in pressure rate this year, so I don't think we see quite the reckoning on the Packers offensive line that we saw against Detroit Thursday night. So I love Green Bay in this spot. I'm laying the 1.5 points with them.
Pat, your thoughts on Green Bay Vegas to close it out?
I'm going to continue my season-long fade of Josh McDaniels and the Raiders. And I do think Green Bay is the better team. And even though I'm assuming that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be back from his concussion for the Raiders this week, are they going to have a home field advantage? Because Green Bay fans travel really well. I suspect this is going to be like a neutral site game.
And I don't want to take too much out of them losing against the Lions. I think the Lions are a very strong football team this year, a very hungry football team too. So I'm with you guys. I think Green Bay is the confident one. And remember, everybody, make sure you set those line alerts over on your Betting Pros app so you know when all the line movement happens. You can set game notifications for specific games. And this is one that also might be changing as more people have time to think about it. A lot of these lines are going to change in the next 6 days. So stay on top of it. Download the Betting Pros app right now. Don't forget, if you have iOS, you get 3 free days of premium Betting Pros when you download that as well. So set those game notifications and those line alerts. Don't forget to drop a comment below. What are you in on this week in week 5 and your early values? We want to hear from you. And if you subscribe to the channel when you make that comment, you just might win yourself an Odell Beckham jersey thanks to us here at Betting Pros. Join our NFL contest, bettingpros.com/NFL contest. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For Pat and Sam, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.